You ever notice how some people can sit in a room full of chaos and not say a single word? Like everyone's yelling, laughing, arguing, and they're just there, silent, observing, maybe smiling a little. And you start wondering, are they shy, rude, deep, or maybe just socially dead inside? Here's the twist. Not all quiet people are the same. In fact, there are 4 very distinct types of people who don't talk much, and each one has a completely different reason for staying silent. Some are strategic, some are selective, some are just living in their own mental universe, and one of them, they don't need to talk because their presence already says everything. By the end of this, you're going to look at yourself or someone you know and think, wait, which one am I? So if you're the kind of person who's ever been called too quiet, or if you've ever wondered what's really going on inside someone's silent mind, make sure to subscribe, because we're about to decode the psychology behind the quiet ones. And trust me, it gets deep. Let's jump in.
All right, let's start with my personal favorite, the conversational escape artist. This is the person who sits in a group, nods along, maybe even smiles at the right moments. But the entire time, they're internally screaming, "Please don't ask me to talk, please don't ask me to talk." And then it happens. Someone goes, "Hey, what do you think?" And what do? They pull the smoothest redirect you've ever seen. That's a good point. But honestly, I think Sarah might have a better answer for this one. Sarah, what do you think? Boom. Hot potato passed. Crisis averted. Survival mode activated. Now, here's the thing. These people aren't dumb. Far from it. In fact, psychologically speaking, they're strategic communicators. They've figured out that the less they talk, the fewer chances they have to say something awkward, stupid, or misunderstood. So they observe, they listen, they adapt. And sometimes they can even steer the entire conversation without saying much at all. It's quiet manipulation, but classy. You see, the escape artist has mastered the art of social camouflage. They blend in, they don't stand out. And because they don't talk much, people often underestimate them. But that's their secret weapon. They're watching, they're learning. And when they finally do speak, it's usually calculated. So, if you know someone like this, don't mistake their silence for weakness. They're playing chess, while everyone else is playing checkers.
Now, the second type is what I call the value speaker. This person doesn't waste words on surface-level nonsense. You'll never hear them jump into a conversation about what their favorite pizza topping is or whether pineapple belongs on pizza. Spoiler, it doesn't. Fight me. But start a conversation about human behavior, the meaning of life, why people do what they do, or some wild psychological theory. Suddenly, they're a full-blown TED Talk speaker. They light up, they engage, they drop knowledge bombs left and right. Psychologically, this type values mental energy. They don't talk just to talk. They talk to connect, to learn, or to teach. They believe that words have power, so they use them wisely. If you hear them talking a lot, it's because the topic touched their brain or their soul. These are the people who will sit through an hour of small talk without saying a word. But the moment someone brings up something deep, they become the most interesting person in the room. Here's the catch, though. They can come off as snobby or uninterested. People might think, why aren't they engaging? Are they bored? Do they not like me? But it's not personal. They're just waiting for something worth responding to. And honestly, that's a powerful mindset. Because in a world where everyone's talking just to fill the silence, the value speaker reminds us that sometimes silence is better than empty noise. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far and you want more content that goes beyond the surface, don't forget to subscribe. We're just getting started, and the next two types are even more intense.
Now, the third type, the lone thinker. This is the person who spent so much time alone that they've basically become their own best friend. And I don't mean that in a sad way. I mean, they've had so many conversations with themselves that they kind of stopped needing other people for it. They've built an entire world inside their head. They think, they analyze, they argue with themselves. They win, they lose, they overthink. They solve problems you didn't even know existed. And when you meet them, they seem quiet, distant, maybe even a little uninterested. But here's the truth. They're not bored. They're just comfortable in silence. Psychologically, these people often have high self-awareness but lower social energy. They don't hate people, they just don't need constant interaction. For them, being alone isn't lonely, it's peaceful. It's where they recharge, it's where they feel most like themselves. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because society often mistakes this for being antisocial or awkward. But that's not fair. The lone thinker isn't avoiding people because they're scared or insecure. They're avoiding unnecessary noise. They're protecting their mental space. And honestly, in a world that's constantly loud, overstimulating, and demanding your attention 24/7, the lone thinker might be the sanest one in the room. These are the people who can go days without texting back, not because they don't care, but because they were genuinely lost in thought. They're the ones who prefer deep one-on-one conversations over group hangouts. They're the ones who, if you give them the right space and the right topic, will blow your mind with how much they've been thinking about. So if you know a lone thinker, don't try to force them into constant conversation. Just give them space. And when they do open up, listen, because what they have to say is usually worth the wait.
And finally, the fourth type, the silent authority. You know this person. They walk into a room and without saying a single word, everyone just knows they're someone. They sit there, calm, composed, maybe even a little mysterious. And while everyone else is talking over each other, arguing, laughing, or gossiping, they're just observing, like a wise monk watching the chaos unfold. And then, after minutes, maybe even hours, they finally speak. And when they do, everyone shuts up and listens. It's like their words weigh more, like they've been holding on to something important. And now that they're sharing it, you'd better pay attention. Psychologically, this type radiates confidence and stability. They don't talk because they don't have to. Their presence alone commands respect. They're not trying to prove anything. They're not seeking validation. They're just there, grounded, secure, unbothered. And that's what makes them so powerful. See, most people talk to fill the void, to be noticed, to be liked. But the silent authority doesn't need any of that. They've mastered the art of quiet confidence. They know that silence can be louder than words. They know that the less you say, the more weight your words carry. These are the people who lead without shouting, who influence without demanding, who earn respect not through volume, but through presence. And honestly, that's the rarest type of all. Because in a world where everyone's screaming for attention, the silent authority just exists. And that's enough.
So there you have it. 4 types of quiet people. 4 completely different reasons for staying silent. Whether they're the conversational escape artist, dodging every chance to speak, or the value speaker, only engaging when the conversation actually matters, or the lone thinker, living comfortably in their own mental universe, or the silent authority, commanding respect without saying a word. Quiet people are far more complex than they seem. Next time you meet someone who doesn't talk much, pay attention. Their silence might be smarter, deeper, or stronger than you think. Now here's the real question. Which type are you? Or which one do you recognize in someone close to you? Drop a comment below. I genuinely want to know if you see yourself or someone you know in any of these 4 types. And hey, if you think there's a 5th type we missed, tell us. Let's crowdsource the psychology of silence together. And if this video made you think differently about the quiet people in your life, or maybe even about yourself, then hit that subscribe button. We go deeper into human behavior, psychology, and the weird little things that make us who we are every single day. Don't forget to leave a like. It helps more people discover content like this. And before you go, check out the next video on screen. It's all about why some people are too comfortable being alone, and whether that's actually a superpower or a warning sign. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, stay quiet if you want, and stay powerful.